In the next few minutes, you're going to learn 3 very powerful lessons on how the vow of poverty is linked with fundraising, how to balance both of them, and how to help you move forward with your next fundraising campaign. And we're going to be looking at the spiritual master, Fr Alphonsus Rodriguez. But before we dive in, hi, my name is Brice Sokolowski, the founder of CatholicFundraiser.net, a website that is completely dedicated to helping Catholics just like you with their fundraising. So whether you're starting out, you're looking for new ideas, or you're a pro and you're trying to just refine how you're fundraising, you're in the right place and you are going to get a lot from this video. Now, before we dive into Father Alphonsus and when he talks about the vow of poverty, I want to make sure that you download absolutely for free the 10 Commandments to Catholic Fundraising. This is a guide of the 10 things that I think you should be doing and every Catholic should be doing when they're fundraising. And I recommend them because these 10 tips have really helped me, and I know they're going to be helping you. So make sure you download it. The link is, if you're watching it on YouTube, SoundCloud, my website, the link is always going to be below. Check it out, download absolutely for free the 10 Commandments to Catholic Fundraising. Okay, let's dive into the vow of poverty and how it links with fundraising. I'm going to give a brief introduction on who Father Alphonsus Rodriguez is. I'm going to be looking at my notes, so if you hear me pause, see me pause, it's because I'm looking at my notes, which are always included as well right below. So who was Father Alphonsus Rodriguez? He was a Jesuit priest born in the 16th century, and he wrote a great book called, and I'm reading it, I'm going to try and show it if it doesn't glare, The Practice of Christian and Religious Perfection. And so he actually wrote this for his Jesuit brothers, but a lot of people said, look, this is really good, you should write this so everyone can benefit of it. And that's why it's called The Practice of Christian and Religious Perfection. And inside this this book, Father Rodriguez talks about the vow of poverty and the 3 degrees of poverty. So he just doesn't look at it from one global perspective, one thing. The vow of poverty is X. He actually breaks it out into 3 degrees, and I think these 3 degrees are really going to help you understand what the vow of poverty is and how you can associate fundraising, because, well, how can you fundraise if you have a vow of poverty? How can you ask people for things when you have taken a vow of not having something? Well, Father Alphonsus Rodriguez explains how both of them can coexist, and at the same time, you can have a vow of poverty, whether you are religious or you are just a Catholic like me, lay Catholic, who wants to pursue at one level or another this vow of poverty, even though I haven't taken a vow of poverty, but I understand that being detached is important. So here are 3 recommendations based on the 3 degrees on the vow of poverty. And so the first one is the first degree of poverty. And Father Alphonsus describes this as to be someone who is exteriorly has quit everything of the world, but who actually loves everything interiorly. So this means, they've given everything up, but they really wish they had this stuff. And he calls this really a hypocrite, where exteriorly you've given it up, but you really interiorly you like this stuff. And you can link this to fundraising, where I've seen Catholic nonprofits who don't like to fundraise. They don't like to fundraise, and they even say we don't fundraise, but at the same time they're complaining and like, well, we really need this and we really need that. And so you're living in these 2 worlds where you say you don't want anything, but at the same time interiorly you do want something. And so this is the first degree, and obviously this is not the degree of vow of poverty that you want to be in. The second degree of poverty is, and this is Father Alphonsus describing it, all those who have left the world both in will and deed and do not seek after superfluities, but are extremely careful to have all things necessary. But at the same time, they are much troubled and complain when they are not denied what they desire. So they have a vow of poverty, they are extremely careful, so they understand, well, I do need certain things. It's a bit different than degree 1, where here they're like, okay, I understand the realities of life. I do need things, but I'm complaining that I don't get everything that I want. And this translates to fundraising in that I do see some people fundraise, but they're careful about how much they fundraise, but at the same time, they still complain that they don't have enough. And again, it's this balance of, not wanting to do too much, not having too much, but at the same time, this other side of complaining. And this is what Father Alphonsus is saying. Pretty much, you don't want to be complaining. If you've got a level of complaining about what you have, you're not really at the best vow of poverty. My understanding, leave some comments obviously below if I'm missing something, but this stuff, the way I'm seeing it, makes sense. And so the third degree of the vow of poverty is where you want to be. And Father Alphonsus says this, we must be content to want what is necessary. This is important. You have to be happy to want what is necessary because you recognize certain things are necessary. And also, you're unable to do without the things which are necessary in life. So this level of vow of poverty recognizes that there are certain things that are just a necessity in life. So very interesting, because I'm learning that a vow of poverty doesn't mean you don't have anything. A vow of poverty means you recognize that you do need certain things, but at the same time, Father Alphonsus says this, that you need to be glad of any occasion to give testimony of our love of poverty. And this, I think, is just the mental side. You're not complaining about what you have or what you don't have. And this, I think, translates into fundraising, is that you have a clear understanding of what it is that you need for your apostolate, your nonprofit. And you understand that you need to fundraise for it. And so you've made a clear, specific plan for, okay, we need these things. We need to fundraise for these things. No more, no less. And we're not going to complain about anything because we know how to get what we need because this is what we need. So there's a clear, definitive line on what's needed. No more, no less. And you're happy as well with what you get because you're very, very focused with your fundraising. That's how I see it. I hope this has been helpful, this balance between the vow of poverty and fundraising. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions. God love you, and I look forward to speaking to you next week. Bye-bye.